Hi, how are you? Welcome back to another video. If you're new, I'm Katie and welcome to the Bookish adventure. First thing first, I cut my hair off again. Do you like it? You may think, oh yeah, it's totally fine. It's short, it's off the shoulder, great. Yeah, at the back it's non-existent. I'm like this short. There's nothing here. There's just nothing here. Just, yep. Absolutely nothing there. I'm kind of freaking out. But I think I like it. I'm stressing, but I think I like it. First day wash hair is always very difficult, but I had to get it cut because we're gonna bleach and dye it tomorrow. So yeah, it seemed pointless dyeing the rest of it when we were gonna chop it all off. But you know, it's summer and I'm hot and I'm sweaty and I'm sticky and work is gross, and I have decided I do really like my hair off the shoulder. The really short back bit was definitely a curveball, and I kind of, you know what, do it. But I mean, it doesn't touch the back of my neck. That's how short it is. Anyway, we're here to do a book review, and that book review is for Queen of the Conquered. So if you've watched my wrap up, if you have watched my reading vlog of this, you will know how good, how much I enjoyed this book and just how out of left field it came. Disclaimer, I read a completely different summary to the one that I'm gonna give you. So if you have watched my reviews, you will understand why I was so like, holy shit, this book is amazing. I'm trying to get my brain into a separate kind of pretend you read it knowing that, which is very difficult. I will say this book does definitely contain trigger warnings. This is set within a slavery era, so violence is a very, very prominent feature for this book. Whether it's whipping, hanging, just in general, it is a constant mood, to be honest, for this entire book. She has the ability to know people's thoughts, so she is constantly hyper aware of the fact that everyone around her is either kind of vaguely amused by her or is like, you don't belong here, and how much they are like, oh god, if we could just kill her and get this over with. So yeah, there is a lot of depiction of death and violence within this book, which going into it I kind of thought could happen. It is just whether the author chooses to make it a real strong part of it, and obviously, you know, how they approach it. So KatiEllen Calendar is an author who I hadn't heard of, however I am now very aware is a very, very popular author. I think more in the YA contemporary, why did I say YA? YA! Oh god, I can't stop. With their book Felix Forever Felix. I did this last time. I couldn't remember what the freaking book was called, but I'll shove it up there because I can't remember. And when I saw the cover, I was like, oh yeah, that book. How did I never know that was that person? There you go. Very well known and popular, and this book is definitely more of an adult themed, I would say, but it is a book that I have barely seen, to be honest, on sort of booktube, bookstagram, that whole thing. The plot of this book focuses on Sigourney, and she is part of this elite family, and within the book you do find out how she managed to get this elite standing when the rest of her people are enslaved and oppressed. And so basically, do you know what I did really like was that this book wasn't like your kind of like your typical colonization of like English people or like American people. This is, I can't remember if it was Dutch, I think it's Dutch, and I think it is based on a real section of islands that were colonized by Dutch people, because I remember reading in the back and thinking, holy shit. So there are lots of their words used within the book, which I really loved. They have been colonized and oppressed and traded by these people, and then you have islands which are owned by families, so they are like the elite, and then you have the main head honcho, the king, and his family had died previously, and it has been known that basically at the end of his time he is going to pick a successor from within these families. So basically every year they have a storm season, and the elite families, the top tier ones, will go and stay on his island, and it's kind of like anything goes on that island. Like, you go there expecting that people are going to die. It is the one time that you are actually living face to face, you're actually with your enemy, whereas normally you're just plotting but you are all on your separate islands. So it is like that. Some people aren't going to walk away from this, and there are some general favorites, general contenders who you think are probably definitely in the line, and basically Sigourney is going to use her ability to be picked as the successor, which, let's face it, is a very tall order. So going into this book, I didn't know that Sigourney was one of these top tier families. I was not top tier, but she owns owns an island, she has her own slaves, she has her own plantations. Going into that, I did not know that, but the newer summaries, particularly on Goodreads, does say that. She is going to use her abilities to, I guess, infiltrate and just, yeah, influence and just get what she wants and kind of seek her revenge for her family being massacred. And again, all of that is explained why her family was taken out. Very good, loved it. I have to say, the world building in this book was amazing. The fact that there wasn't info dump after info dump, it was portrayed amazingly via memories of her going to places and her remembering things with her sister, with her mother. All of that I really, really did love. And because she can obviously go into other people's minds, she can get their memories, she can kind of compel them to tell her stuff. So everyone has powers pretty much. It's one of these things where people have powers. However, white people being the colonizers have decided that these abilities are only meant for them, and that anyone with dark skin who has these are basically, how dare you? Not that you picked it. So basically, if there is any inkling of a slave having these powers, then they are gone. It is only because she is one of these top tier families that it's kind of everyone has completely different abilities. There is a person who can question you and you have no choice, you tell the truth. There is another one who can like inflict pain. It's very cool. So a lot of them have really like strong abilities and very useful ones, and some of them less so. There's another one who can detect if people do have these abilities. It's quite cool, but yeah, it is supposedly reserved for the best. So what I did love going into this is that Sigourney is not a likable person, which I wasn't expecting, because I guess, yeah, I wasn't expecting her to be a slave owner. And while she doesn't brutalize her slaves like the others do, there is still hate and burning resentment. Oh god, they hate her and she can feel it. And I mean, she has a lot of internalized hate as well towards herself. You know, she is keeping the secret that her plan is to overthrow and take over. And something I really love about this book is that it throws up a lot of questions. Could you do better? Because it kind of gets to the point where, are you just trying to prove to them that you may be black, but you are just as good as them, you're just as worthy? And that is something I really like, because you can see that her want for power and her want to be respected is almost kind of outweighing the whole free your people sort of thing. And I think that is where the hate comes from, because her mother was very well respected within the island of her slaves and stuff, and there was always this belief that she was trying to change things, she was trying to like free them. Whereas with this girl, they are very much like, oh. So she is helped and aided by her maid, and she sort of helps her, keeps her going, keeps her on track, and sort of holds her up. So there's not quite a love connection, but it is there, but she's very hard on it. And you know, you learn so much of their relationship in the book, and it is amazing how this book has been done. I really do love it. Everything is a struggle, and once she gets to the island, because she's got so many chess moves in places, everything is constantly moving and changing, and when she gets to the island, she knows full well that she is going to be on everyone's radar to be attacked. And then she gets there and the king is kind of like, oh hey girl. It's a little off, and even she's thrown by the fact that he seems kind of welcoming to her. And basically, whilst on this island, it becomes very apparent that something is not right, and there is someone targeting these top elite families, including herself, but it is also kind of throwing suspicion onto her. So there is clearly someone with a stronger magic that is doing this, and Sigourney basically takes it upon herself with all her maneuverings and her plots and her schemings that she's going to find out who it is. I can very proudly say I guessed who it was. To me, there were only really two obvious candidates. However, the grand overarching scheme of things I did not guess, and that I did love. It went beyond what I thought it was, and it just so has set up the next book really well, because when I was going into this, I didn't know if the second book was directly connected to this book or if it was just set within the same islands. And then I started to think, oh, this could be based on him. Oh, that would be really cool, because I knew the book was based on a guy. And what I love is for the second book is that it is going to be from someone else's perspective, but Sigourney is going to be in it. So we're going to get to see his perspective of Sigourney a lot more. I just love everything about this book. But yeah, that main theme of, yeah, could you actually do better in that situation? Because we would all like to hope and think, oh yeah, like I would have freed my slaves, like it'd be great. You know, it is one of these things when you actually have to start thinking about it. Okay, say you make it to the top, say you make it and you are now the queen of these islands, like if you free everyone, what happens to your sort of like your governance, your system of rule, I guess, the word I can't think of, your society, that's it, because obviously everyone is slaves. So how do you then go about changing things? How do you then go about, well, you still need workers because you guys are still gonna need food, and then eventually you're gonna have to build things, more homes, schools, stuff like that. So that then kind of throws into, well, it could just be easier to leave it how it is and maybe just start paying them. Yeah, it's very, very clever how you do kind of thing. And I really enjoyed the interview with the author at the back of the book, because that was kind of specifically what they had in mind. Okay, you're given this position of power, whilst you may not be as powerful as the actual white oppressors, and they kind of see you as an amusement and a bit of a joke and a kind of like a bug they would just like to crush, you still are more powerful than your people. And this is something that is based on true cases, that there were black slave owners, there were, I don't want to say thriving, but there were few who were thriving. And again, I think it is that thing of, you get to a point when you want to prove, hey, look, I'm not this savage, I am intelligent, I am equal to you in these things, look, I can run a business, look, I can do this and have it not burn to the ground, I hit myself in the mouth. Oh, this is very difficult not to give away. If certain things had happened differently with Sigourney and her raising, I do think her want for power would definitely be less, and her want to free her people would be more. I think, unfortunately, while she was guided in a correct way, I think they could have, like, yeah, more could have been done to actually be like, you know, you don't seem like you want to free your people. You seem like you want to be in charge. And it's very sad, because I do have a lot of sympathy and a lot of empathy for her, because she's in the, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. It is a scary, heavy burden. Her ultimate goal, of course, is to avenge her family and is to take over it and to kill everyone. Sounds awful. There is that part of her where she is desperate for these families to see her as equal, to see that actually, you know what, she is a rightful contender to be an heir. So yeah, it is very sad, because you do just think, girl, come on, like, open your eyes. They're never gonna look at you that way. They're never gonna think of you as an equal. They're never gonna be like, oh yeah, girl, like, it's fine, we won't burn the sofa once you've sat on it. I did find that she didn't have a lot of sort of character growth. She did sort of stay the way she was. I think, unfortunately, this desperation that she just feels the need, and maybe this comes from the fact that she loses her family, but it always feels like she's trying to prove herself to someone. So she's trying to prove to the white people that she can be their equal, she can be like the same as them, and then she's almost trying to prove to a certain character she is trying to do the right thing, and why can't he see that, you know, she is deserving to be a queen of them and that she is doing it for them. And I love him because he's kind of like, I see through your bullshit. I just think she just desperately just needs someone who doesn't want something from her. All of it was really amazingly done, just everything, all the flashbacks, all the memories of her growing up with her family, the things that led to her family's death, when they realized that even though they were supposedly one of these elite families, when they went to sort of the main places where the oppressors were, you know, they were spat at, they were screamed at, stuff like that, which was so vivid and so horrible, because you can picture it as a child how just horrible that must have been. And to really learn, wow, okay, I am hated for the colour of my skin. And in her case, she does just have this constant knowledge of that. She's hated from both sides. She's hated from her slaves because she's not obscene to be doing anything to free them, to help them, and because she's acting like them, the oppressors. And then on that side, they're kind of just tolerating her, but again, she knows deep down that they're just like, can we kill her yet? Because I mean, this is ridiculous. Look at her parading around pretending to be one of us. The book has kind of got like that mystery undertone to it, because you are trying to figure out what is going on this island, which again was really fun. Like just things were constantly happening. There was always a threat, there was always just something happening. And then maybe you started to think, when you're trying to figure out like who could be behind it, maybe she is just starting to lose her mind, because like the stress of all of it is just maybe just breaking her. It is so good. And yeah, seeing someone in that position trying to struggle and trying to keep going, and her constant plans, her constant, I loved it. Everything, how she has maneuvered everything from a very young age and how she's been aided is just really brilliant. One of my favorite things is how she got her sort of what's the word word when you're like gonna be engaged to someone, but I can't think of what it is. But yeah, when she's like, she has maneuvered things so that she can marry one of these families, and how she's done that, even that was so cool. And the whole time there is this fraught tenseness of who can she trust, who on this island can she trust. You kind of think, stop talking, can you trust them, please stop talking. And there were a few bits where I thought, oh god, like, are they gonna backstab her, are they gonna do this? And I loved it. There was always just constantly just something happening. I'm very excited to read the second one, I really am. And I just, there is not enough love for this book. I have not seen enough of this book anywhere. It is just gorgeous. But like I say, the violence it's pretty, so as long as that is something you can handle. It's not that it's graphic or anything, but it is constant, it is all the time. And you know, it is also aimed at children as well. One of the characters in it, his childhood, it has a rough upbringing. Just bear that in mind. For me, it wasn't an issue. At times it was a bit like, oh god, wow, okay, but it was okay. I think if it had been like I think if it had been quite gory in that sense, I think I definitely would have struggled. But going into this, I had the expectation that that was going to be there. I knew that there was going to be some sort of violence, some sort of awfulness. It is just how the author chooses to deal with it. And personally, I think KatiEllen did a really good job. I think it wasn't too much. It didn't feel like it was like breaking my soul. But again, I think that is because they chose not to make it graphic. And it's just, it's there. It is what it is. And unfortunately, it is history. So that is it for this book review. I really hope you read it. If you haven't, I cannot highly recommend it enough. Just all of it was just so freaking brilliant. To be fair, I think a lot of that goes down to the fact that I didn't know what the real synopsis, I guess, but even still, it was so good. So please read it. And if you have read it, please tell me your thoughts. Did you love it? Are you gonna read the sequel? Just, yeah. If you enjoyed this video and you want to hit that like button, and then do that, and if you want to subscribe, do that too, and never miss a video. I hope you have a great weekend. I have another weekend off, yay! But I actually think the weather's going to be shit, so me and Gavin are probably going to be inside. Well, I mean, I'm dyeing my hair on one of the days, but so yeah, maybe we'll do some painting in his living room or something. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.